Tip number 1. If you get a quest that brings you to Old Faithful Isle, cancel the voyage, Alt F4 and uninstall Sea of Thieves. Seriously though, I know Old Faithful is one of the most hated in the game, so here's 7 tips to hopefully make your next visit a bit more painless. Tip number 1. As soon as you set foot on Old Faithful, bury something to give yourself a map. Having a map of the island will help you better place where you are at all times and how to get back to your boat the fastest. Tip number 2. When up high with loot and needing to get back to your boat, rather than following the curvy paths of the island, just walk in the direction of your ship. If you come to a drop-off, try rock hopping your way down the cliffside to take a minimal damage instead of just jumping off. Your unbroken legs will thank me later. Tip number 3. Old Faithful features some wacky and fun elevators for you to move yourself through by the southeastern beach. It's a fast way to get up high and move loot without it possibly catching on a cliffside. Tip number 4. Avoid parking on the eastern shore of Old Faithful. A number of cannons on the island and in the tower can spawn skellies that'll wreck you up. I tend to park on the northern beach due to ease of finding it, just on the other side of the archway, and you can get to it pretty quickly from anywhere on the island. Tip number 5. Old Faithful is a monster, not just in its size, but its height. The map fails to portray just how vertical this island really is. So here is a graphic that'll hopefully help you better understand the lowest layer, middle layer, and top layer of the island, and now seeing it all together hopefully helps you understand what pieces of it just might be connected. Tip number 6. Directional riddles can also be wacky at Old Faithful, so here's my directional riddle map. And lastly, tip number 7. I find that what helped me most make sense of Old Faithful was learning to identify specific aspects of the island on the map to make dig quests more bearable. Here's some examples of a few trickier dig spots and what landmarks I'd use to get closer to my ex. In this spot, the most noticeable landmark in the game is this pool of water. However, on the map, the pool of water is nowhere to be found. So instead, I use the tower head structure, the 3 prongs, and the pathway to help me out. In this next spot, the edge of the island shows me 2 rocks that look, in my opinion, like teeth, sticking out towards the water, along with a little island out to the southeast. In this last example, I first used the right side of this archway as a waypoint. Next, I used the direction of the long rock to keep me straight, and the patch of grass to estimate how far away the dig actually is. Old Faithful has a severe lack of distinguishable landmarks, so every opportunity you have to practice knowing this island and learning it is going to make you hate it just a little bit less.